Hi guys, so today I'm going to be reading chapter 10 of The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy and her friends were led to the great gates of Emerald City. The guardian of the gate removed their green glasses and put them back in a green box. He wished them good luck and reminded Dorothy that the Wicked Witch was very mean and would try to make them her slaves. After they had said goodbye, the guardian of the gate, they began to walk towards the west. Soon the hot sun made Dorothy and the lion very tired. They laid down on the cool grass and fell asleep, while the Tin Man and Scarecrow kept watch. While Dorothy and the lion were sleeping, the Wicked Witch of the West was watching them. She had only one eye, but it was powerful as a telescope, and she could see everything. So as she sat by the door of her castle, she happened to look around and saw Dorothy lying asleep with her friends beside her. The Wicked Witch was angry to find them in her country. She blew on a silver whistle. They hung around her neck. In a few seconds, a pack of wolves came running to her. They had long legs and fierce eyes and sharp teeth. "Go to those people," said the witch, and tear them to pieces. "Aren't you going to make them your slaves?" asked the leader of the wolves. "No," answered the Wicked Witch. One is made of tin, one is made out of straw, and one is a little girl, and one is a lion. None of them is fit to work, so you may tear them to pieces." "Very well," said the wolf, and he dashed away at a full speed with the rest of the packs. But the Scarecrow and the Tin Man were wide awake, and they heard the wolves coming. The Tin Man grabbed his axe, and as the leader of the wolves ran towards him, he swung his arm and chopped off the wolf's head. As soon as each wolf came close, he killed it with his sharp axe. Soon 40 wolves lay dead in the great heap. When a Wicked Witch saw what the Tin Man had done, she became even angrier than before. She blew her silver whistle twice. In a few minutes, a great flock of the wild crows came flying towards her. The Wicked Witch said to the King Crow, "Fly at once to the strangers and peck out their eyes and tear them to pieces." The wild crows flew towards Dorothy and her friends. When she saw them coming, Dorothy was afraid, but the Scarecrow said, "This is my battle. Lie down beside me and you will be safe." So everyone but the Scarecrow lay down on the ground. The Scarecrow stood up and stretched out his arm. When the crows saw him, they were frightened and did not dare to come any closer. But the King Crow said, "It's only a stuffed man. I will peck his eyes out." The King Crow flew at the Scarecrow, who caught it by the head and twisted its neck until it was dead. As each crow flew at the Scarecrow, he twisted its neck. Soon there were 40 crows lying dead beside him. When the Wicked Witch saw all of her crows lying in a heap, she went into a terrible rage and blew her silver whistle 3 times. This time, a great swarm of bees came flying toward her. The wicked witch told the bees to sting Dorothy and her friends to death, but the Scarecrow saw the bees coming. He scattered his straw all over Dorothy, Toto, and the line. This way the bees flew at the Tin Man, and their stingers broke off against the tin. The Tin Man was not hurt, but all of the bees died. Their bodies lay scattered in the field. The Wicked Witch was so angry when she saw her bees lying in little heaps that she stamped her foot and tore her hair and gashed off her teeth. Then she called a dozen of her slaves who were the Winkies and gave them sharp spears. She told them to find the strangers and destroy them. The Winkies were not brave people, but they had to obey the Wicked Witch so they could march away. When the lion saw them coming, he gave a great roar. To poor Winkies were so frightened that they ran away as fast as they could. When the Wicked Witch saw they had happened, she made up her mind how act. She sent to the cupboard and took out their golden cap. This cap had a special charm. Whoever owned it could call 3 times upon the winged monkeys, and these creatures would obey and do and order they were given. But no one could command the wings of monkeys more than 3 times. The Wicked Witch had used the charm of the cap twice before, so this was her last wish. She put the golden cap on her head, stood on her left foot. Then she recruited a second charm. Soon the sky darkened and a low of rumbling sounds could be heard. In a few minutes, the witch was surrounded by a crowd of monkeys with the huge and powerful wings on their shoulders. The Wicked Witch ordered the winged monkeys to destroy the strangers except for the lion. She wanted him to be brought to her so she could make him her slave. Your command shall be obeyed, said the leader. Then the winged monkeys flew away. When they found the Tin Man, the monkeys grabbed him and carried him through the air. When they were over some sharp pointy rocks, they dropped the poor Tin Man. He fell a great distance to the rocks, where he lay so battered and dented that he couldn't move. The rest of the monkeys caught the Scarecrow and with their long fingers all of the straw out of his clothes and his head, made his hat and boots and his clothes into a small bundle and threw it into the top of the branches of a tall tree. After they had done this, the monkeys threw pieces of rope around the lion and wound many holes around his body, head, and legs. When they were sure he was unable bite or scratch. They lifted him up and flew away with him to the witch's castle. At the castle, he was placed in a small yard with a high iron fence so that he could not escape. But Dorothy was not harmed at all. She stood with Toto in her arms and watched what the monkeys did to her friends. The leader of the winged monkeys flew up to her. His long hairy arms and stretched out, and his ugly face grinned terribly. But when he saw the mark of the good witch's kiss on her forehead, he stopped short and moaned others not to touch her. We dare not harm this little girl, he said to them, for she is protected by the power of good, and that is greater than the power of evil. All we can do is carry her to the castle and the wicked witch and leave her there. So they carefully lifted Dorothy in their arms and carried her to the castle. The wicked witch was surprised and worried. When she saw the mark on Dorothy's forehead, she knew that it could not hurt the girl in any way. When she saw Dorothy's silver slippers, she began to tremble in fear. For she knew what a powerful charm could belong to them. But the wicked witch was also very clever. She knew that Dorothy did not know the true power of silver slippers. So the wicked witch laughed to herself and thought, I can still make her my slave, for she does not know how to use her power. Then she said to Dorothy, come with me and see that you mind everything I'll tell you. For if you do not, I will make you an end of you, as I did of the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. The wicked witch led Dorothy through the castle until they came up to the kitchen. Here the witch made Dorothy clean the pots and pans, sweep the floor, and feed the fire with heavy logs. While Dorothy was hard at work, the witch would go into the courtyard and harness the lion like a horse. She wanted the lion to pull his cart and take her wherever she wished to go, but as she opened the gate, the lion gave her a loud roar and bounded at her so fiercely that the witch was afraid and ran out and shut the gate again. If I cannot harness you, said the witch, I can starve you. You shall have nothing to eat until you do as I wish. So after that, she took no food to the imprisoned lion. Every day she came to the gate at noon and asked, are you ready to be harnessed like a horse? As the lion would answer, no. If you come in this yard, I will bite you. The reason the lion did not have to do as the witch wished was that every night while the witch was asleep, Dorothy carried him to the food from the cupboard. After he ate, Dorothy would sit beside him and they would talk of their troubles and try to plan some way to escape. But they could not find a way to get out of the castle, for it was guarded by the yellow winkies who the slaves of the wicked witch, and too afraid of her not to do as she ordered. Dorothy worked very hard during the day, and her life became very sad. She knew it'd be difficult to return to Kansas. Sometimes she held little Toto in her arms and cried bitterly. Now the wicked witch had a great longing to own Dorothy's silver shoes. She knew the power of these shoes would make her more evil, and feared that she already watched Dorothy carefully to see if she ever took off her shoes, thinking she might steal them. But Dorothy only removed them when she took her bath that night. The witch was too afraid of the dark to dare enter Dorothy's room at night to take the shoes, and her fear of the water was even greater than a fear of the dark. She never came near when Dorothy took her bath. The old witch never touched the water, and never let the water touch her in any way. But the wicked witch was very clever, and she finally thought of a trick that she could get Dorothy's silver shoes. She placed an iron bar in the middle of the kitchen floor. Then she used her magic to make the bar invisible. In this way, she knew Dorothy would trip over the bar and lose her shoes. But when Dorothy tripped over the invisible bar, she only lost one shoe. The witch was quickly snatched it and put it on her own foot. When Dorothy saw what happened, she grew very angry and said, "Give me back my shoe." "I will not," laughed the witch. "Now it is my shoe, not yours, and someday I shall get the others one from you too." This made Dorothy so angry that she picked up the bucket of water so had been using to wash the floor and threw it over the witch. Instantly the witch gave a loud scream, and then, as Dorothy looked in wonder, the witch began to shrink and melt away. So, see what you have done," she screamed. "I'm very sorry," said Dorothy, who was truly frightened to see the witch melting away like brown sugar. In a few minutes, the witch turned into a brown, melted, shapeless mass and began to spread over the kitchen floor. All that left over the witch was the silver shoe. Dorothy picked it up, cleaned it, and put it back on her own foot. Then, being free at last, Dorothy ran out to the courtyard to tell the lion that the Wicked Witch of the West had come to win, and that they were no longer prisoners in a strange land. The rescue. So that's the end of the chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.